RICMOTECH, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, RICMOTECH.com.
After a wonderful race at Kansas, we come now to what would be the longest oval racetrack on the iRacing service. It is the iRacing Super Speedway for the final race of the regular season here for the RICMOTECH Truck Series. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight. Alongside me is my broadcast partner, Angel Santiago. And Angel, we saw a great race at Kansas last week. Coming now to Talladega Super Speedway, it is iRacing Super Speedway. It is big, it is fast, it is very unforgiving.
Fast and unforgiving are probably the two best words you can use to describe such a place. I mean, this is absolutely one of my favorite tracks on iRacing. It's a fictional track, of course, for those that don't know. It's ginormous. Everything about it, the speed, the banking in the corners, it makes this track, as you said, very unforgiving should you be involved in what we always call the big one at these super speedways.
And right around here, this is where you can get the biggest of the big ones. As Angel mentioned, this is a fantasy racetrack. This was based off of an old mod for NASCAR Racing 2003, the old Coca-Cola Super Speedway. It is now rebranded as the iRacing Super Speedway. 36 degrees of banking in the corners that are 6 lanes wide, 10 degrees of banking on the straightaways, which again are 6 lanes wide. And one of the biggest things and one of the biggest differences from the other two super speedways, no restrictor plates here. We're going to be seeing speeds tonight of upwards of 220 to 230 down the straightaways.
Yeah, to imagine that, you have these trucks going significantly faster than what you can have the Cup cars on a plate track is just insane to think. These things are bad fast, and seeing these trucks hit these, said 36 degrees of banking in these corners is insane. And we're going to have a couple of onboard shots for everybody. Maybe if you get an opportunity, somebody riding maybe a higher lane, it'll really make you sink into your seat watching. It's almost like a roller coaster diving into these corners.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is absolutely massive. But what is even bigger are the stakes here tonight. Coming into the final race of the regular season, James Holtzer pretty much has the regular season championship all wrapped up. He's got 374 points coming off of back-to-back wins here. 4 wins. That's the most of anybody on the season. Brendan Book is second at 348 points. But the guys we're going to be focusing on tonight are going to be the guys from about 10th through logistically 14th. Bryce Senizak, Alan Hilton, Kyle Knapp, Chris Akers, and Dave Elliott. Those are all drivers that are going to be looking to either get in or stay in the top 12 in points to get into the playoffs.
It is going to be exciting. I love super speedway racing to determine the playoffs. I mean, I know a lot of people think, oh, it's not right, it's too unpredictable, but that's what we love. The unpredictability going into the final race of the regular season. This is your shot to make it into the playoffs. Maybe you've had a bad season, maybe, you got to a bad start to the season, but you really picked it up. We've seen quite a few drivers really pick up here in the second half of the season, and a win tonight would propel them not just into the playoffs, but possibly into the championship picture, because it's not about just getting into the playoffs. You got to make it to the championship, and it honestly, I know we always say it starts at Daytona at the start of the season, but really, I think from here on out, this is where the rest of the season goes. It comes out of iRacing Super Speedway tonight.
Yep, absolutely. And Mike Rominger, we assume, is safe. Now, Rominger is here tonight. He will be starting from the 12th position of this 23 truck field here tonight. Rominger in the 9th position in points seems pretty safe at 282 points. Again, it's Bryce Senesac at 263, Alan Hilton at 261, Kyle Knapp, who is the bubble, at 256. Chris Akers is tied on points with him at 256. And Dave Elliott at 237. Those are going to be the guys that we are going to be watching tonight. And guys like Kyle Knapp and Ed Morris and David Elliott all have a little bit of an advantage tonight. Both of these, all three of those guys ran the ARCA race for the Maestros Classic Series at Talladega last night. Super Speedway practice less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, and it's going to be extremely helpful. People say, "Oh, well, it's just a super speedway. It's just full throttle the entire way." No, you get into a groove at a track like this. You really feel the momentum that carries through each turn, and just how the overall atmosphere is. And once you've already got some, a little bit of that under your belt, just from the evening prior, I think it'll definitely give them an advantage going into tonight's race.
And certainly getting used to drafting, and with those ARCA cars, you can't bump draft here. So it forces you to take a run when you get it and not have to rely on bump drafting, which we're going to be seeing a lot of here tonight. Guys just taking the run as they come, because these things are very quick, and the inside line is going to be king here.
And you're talking about how that can help them be aggressive tonight, but I think it's also going to be helping them learn some patience. As you said, you can't bump draft in those things, so you really got to learn some throttle control on a track that really you can go full throttle, but, you start getting to these big packs, a little bit of check up here and there, you can't bump in those ARCA cars, so I think it'll definitely maybe garner them a little bit more patience inside that bank, because you're going to need to pick from it quite a few times in tonight's race.
Absolutely will. As we're down to the final couple of seconds here before we get a look at the starting grid here, we got 60 laps here at the iRacing Super Speedway tonight. Absolutely anything can and will happen here tonight at this racetrack. But as we look now, we're about to get to the grid here for the start of tonight's round number 10 of the season for the RICMOTECH Truck Series. Jordan McGraw and Michael Thwaites will be on the front row. Jordan McGraw with a 50.517 lap time around here. Not that far off of what they would run at Talladega, which is a half a mile shorter than this behemoth here at the iRacing Super Speedway. Chris Akers and Kyle Knapp, the two drivers that are on the bubble, tied for that 12th position in points, will line up next to each other in row number 2. Ryan Hoover and Daniel Holloway will make up row number 3, with Nicholas Vroman and John Sterling making up row number 4. Joshua O'Connor and Jeremy Clifton will make up row 5, with David Elliott and Mike Rominger making up row number 6.
Coming in here in row number 7, you have Tom Amassi in the 05. Ed Morris is in that number 7 Chevrolet, starting outside row 7. Row 8, you have Brendan Book and Alan Hilton. Bryce Senesac, one of our drivers trying to fight for an opportunity into the playoffs, rolling off in row 9 with your series regular season champion James Holtzer. Mike Franklin and Jerry Glenn make up row 10. Row 11 goes to Christian DeBauer and Wallace Boyce, and then Rob Griffin, Wallace's teammate, will round out the field in the 23rd position. Well, you know what I've noticed? We have a lot of drivers up front right now that qualify to the front that don't typically qualify up front. So these guys are ready to go out there, and a couple of those names are names that you mentioned at the start of this broadcast in that playoff bubble. So they're here. They're not here to play. They're here to win tonight.
No, they absolutely are. And by the way, looking at that at the starting grid, Mike Franklin, Jerry Glenn, Christian DeBoer, Wallace Boyce, and Rob Griffin all not taking part in qualifying and lining up by their iRating. Cars seem to be going a little bit fast here tonight, 90-mile-an-hour pace speed, as we will take a look at the weather conditions for today's race. 87-degree ambient temperature. The track is hot here today, 118 degrees Fahrenheit, and a south-southwest wind gusting upwards of 15 miles an hour. That is going to be a lot of havoc for these guys as they go through the corners.
I'll be honest, I'm not quite aware of where each turn is located on, the compass, as one would say. But it's going to be really interesting if you got it, that wind coming off of a turn, maybe pushing a truck up off a turn, getting them a little loose, as we are ready to go green here, Frank.
Yes, we are. Pace truck is off, getting set to go racing 60 laps here at the iRacing Super Speedway regular season finale. We're green.
Jordan McGraw with a nice jump. You don't want too big of a jump here. They're going to have some massive runs, as you mentioned earlier. Jordan McGraw clears for first. Chris Akers here in second. And we got Michael Thwaites with Kyle Knapp all over his bumper, as they're going to be almost 4 wide here in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and it's an easy 4 wide in a racetrack like this. We're seeing guys fanned out all over the racetrack. Some guys trying to fan out and go backwards. Other guys trying to fan out and go forwards. Jordan McGraw and Chris Akers holding that inside line right now. And a big push there in the middle lane. That appears to be the 95 of Nicholas Vroman starting to make his move up towards the front. And that's the 92 of Ryan Hoover who's pushing.
Man, no surprise there. You see Nicholas Vroman ready to come right back to it. Missed last week's race while his competitor James Holtzer took home his 4th win of the season. Nicholas did win 3 in a row. There was a time where we thought Nicholas might walk away with this. James Holtzer kind of woke up here in the second half of the season, and we've got ourselves a championship battle here. But right now, Vroman looking to grab win number 4 and tie himself up with that number 99 truck.
Yep, and that is a big win number 4, because that would put him up at the top of the point standings when it gets reset, as we see the number 4 of David Elliott pushing Nicholas Vroman on that outside. These runs are going to be big, as that's a huge wiggle there by the 59 of Joshua O'Connor. Third car on the inside lane had Daniel Holloway and I think Nicholas Vroman both spooked going through 3 and 4.
Yeah, you got to be really careful here. There's a couple of bumps that you can hit, and if you've got, just at the right time, it can really hurt you. And here comes Chris Akers. He's going to the lead here in his Reese's number 1 Chevrolet with drafting help from the 26 of Daniel Holloway.
Yep, and those are big for Nicholas Vroman, as a little bit of a wiggle there for the 92.
Oh, the 59 sideways.
Yep, that's O'Connor sideways after a bump from the 92 of Hoover.
What a save.
Yep, absolutely. And these bankings, especially down the straightaways, you do not want to be getting loose on them, because you can really do some damage getting back onto and falling off of the racetrack.
Yes, very much so. That is the amount of banking here, and it's not just, he's not talking about damage, it's going to hurt you, slowing you down for that moment in time. It will damage your truck, and without a fast repair, it makes that ever so more important to really be careful here. We're already, on our 4th lap. This race is going to go quick here, assuming that we keep it caution-free as we have most of the season here.
That's a big lead, by the way. I think that's what I was starting to say for Chris Akers with him needing those points. But the guy he's battling in that points battle is running right to his outside right now. That's the 4 of David Elliott pushing the 95 of Nicholas Vroman. So the 1 has those points. The 4 needs to get them if he wants to draw back even with the 1, and they're going to fall in front of him. Right now, as it's Vroman and Elliott leading the inside, that leaves Bryce Senezak open on the outside with the push from Mike Rominger.
You know, you were just talking about how it's very important for David Elliott and Chris Akers. You know, they qualify, or, you know, Chris Akers qualified pretty well here. But guess what? Bryce Senesac, all the way from the back, and David Elliott, honestly, qualified 11th all the way up to 2nd. Senesac qualifying 17th, and he's up to the 6th spot, leading that outside lane right there. That's a driver. I'm loving the aggression I'm seeing for some of these drivers, knowing that tonight's their chance to make the playoffs. Oh, that 92 got a little bit there.
Yeah, he certainly did, and that's one of the big factors of this racetrack. You can see these guys. If you think of Dover, how you go into these corners and you dive down into the corners and drop big into the corners. Think of that exact same thing, except at 100, instead of at 150 miles an hour like it would be at Dover, you're doing 225 as you fall into these corners.
I cannot believe you mentioned Dover. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. I was waiting for you to finish, Frank. I think you read my mind in that one. As Chris Akers jumps to the outside to try to take the lead back. I was going to say, it's like putting a go-kart on Dover.
And if we can get an onboard shot of one of these guys.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
just
jump on board with Bryce Senesac.
At 05, riding on board now with Senesac, and you see how you kind of jump out of these corners. It's not as severe, but once we get down to the end of this straightaway, how you're going to basically dive into turn number 1. It's the same way in turn number 3. You hear the let off and the big dive as you fall into the corner.
Man, that is probably one of the most smoothest ways I've seen somebody jump into a corner here at ISS. Letting off early, having the confidence in the drivers around you is so important at a track like this. Knowing you're not going to get run over if you let off the throttle a little bit, just to kind of give everybody some room. And that's what I love here about the RICMOTECH High Performance Truck Series. These guys are some of the best out there. Look at this, the patience. You see the 92 get a little wiggly there, but everybody's giving them a ton of room. There's a lot of respect amongst these drivers, and it's showing right now, and it's putting on for a fantastic race.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's, you can tell some of the drivers as the tires get worn here, because there is so much load on these trucks, and because there is so much load on the tires, as you see the 05 of Tom Massey swinging way up to the outside. He's had a very loose truck getting into these corners. Once those back tires start to go away, you can't really take that inside line full throttle going into these corners, as the 92 now gets passed up by the 09 of Bryce Senesac, fanning out 3 wide. The 34 of Jordan McGraw now stuck in that 3rd lane. Yeah,
Jordan McGraw was your pole sitter, if I'm not mistaken. He was running up front pretty well, and then lost it. Looks like he's going to go ahead and pull off to the back maybe and give it a break, knowing he's got a fast truck tonight. He can win this race as long as he keeps that nose clean.
He's out there in that 3rd lane now. The 7 of Ed Morris, 4th car on the outside lane, now flying up towards the outside. One of the 3 drivers in the race here tonight that competed last night, actually won the Maestros Classic ARCA Series Championship last night, did the, regular season championship. Did Ed Morris last night with his 3rd place finish. Had his teammate in the 42. Wow, the 92 almost came up and sideswiped the 7 going into 3.
Man, we do have, speaking of Ryan Hoover and that number 92, we do have a fan on our YouTube watching, rooting on Ryan Hoover and Joshua O'Connor. So we've seen both of those drivers make their way to the front. As a matter of fact, they're back-to-back right now, that 92 and that 59. But man, this outside lane has been very successful, and that's what I love about this track. This outside lane works so well, and it doesn't take you much, and you carry so much momentum. You have to go to the outside sometimes with the runs you get, and it forces drivers to go to that outside and really make it work. And boy, does it show how well an outside lane can work at a track, as big on a super speedway.
Absolutely. That's Akers in the 1, Holloway in the 26, running in 2nd place on that outside line. Mike Franklin in the 82, Ed Morris, and then Michael Thwaites on that outside line. But still, the inside line seems superior as Nicholas Vroman pulling out in front with that 4 of David Elliott running right behind him.
Man, these trucks are not giving up. Man, I wish I was down there racing. This is like so much fun right now.
It's fun to watch. It's quite stressful to have to drive one of these.
Oh, I love it.
Because again, we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, no restrictor plate here, so you are flying about 30 to 40 miles an hour quicker than this truck was really ever designed to go. Diving into these corners at 130 miles an hour is 230 miles an hour, pardon me, is no small feat, especially when you're about as wild as the 92 is right now.
God, 220 miles per hour through the corners. This is insane right now. And you saw Bryce Sendesack jump to the outside when he saw that big run coming by those trucks. Didn't work out for him, but it shows that he's not here just to sit around. He is trying to get to the front, lead some laps, and put this truck in victory lane and into the playoffs. I'm telling you, these guys want it more than I've ever seen it, and it is just so entertaining watching it happen.
And because these guys have no restrictor plate, they can take these runs a little bit more. As you see Mike Rominger poke out on the outside line, trying to get around Mike Franklin. Now has Ed Morris and Thwaites behind him in the number 12. Boy, that 92, we keep mentioning it, but he has got a big issue getting down into turn number 3. He's either got to let off or start changing his line. And look who else has come right back up here. That's the 59 of O'Connor that has worked his way back up after almost getting spun out on the 3rd lap.
Yeah, he's driving pretty solid here with Ryan Hoover. They're trying to make some moves here, trying to figure out something a little bit. You see Mike Robinger on the outside. Don't forget, he is a winner this season as well, so he's looking to make it 2 wins on the season after having won the 2nd race of the season at, at Las Vegas. You know, one of our other winners on the plate tracks today is that, or this season, is that 6th place truck, and that Ford, the 82 of Mike Franklin, having won at Daytona, so he knows how to win at these super speedways. We've got talent everywhere here, and they're showing it.
But Mike Franklin right now might run afoul of the minimum competition, because in order to make the chase, you need to have competed in at least 8 of the 10 races in the regular season in order to make the playoffs. Mike Franklin right now running 21st in points, but he does have that win. So if he has completed 8 of the races, then he will be in the playoffs no matter where he finishes in the remainder of the standings. James Holtzer right now would have the points lead after the reset with 4 wins. Nicholas Vroman second with 3. Mike Rominger, as you had mentioned, with wins, and Mike Franklin as well with a victory here. So those guys would get shuffled up to the top.
Yeah, very interesting to see. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting. You know, really how this race finishes off, and just trying to see. I think, I mean, you see Nicholas Roman right now, 3-time winner in the series, up front. But and Mike Rominger as well, I fully believe we're going to see a first-time winner this year in the RICMOTECH Truck Series.
Yep, the odds would be in their favor as Rominger gets shuffled out by the 7 of Ed Morris, as that was Michael Thwaites pushing him out. Look at Mike Franklin now making it 4 wide in the middle. And again, that's a comfortable 4 wide as the 82 now gets under the 7. He's going to make the pass. So Mike Franklin goes from about 4th or 5th in that line to leading the outside lane.
Man, those are those moves pulling off at a track like Daytona. He's showing it here again today. That's a guy I'd like to be working with. I know he's going to be able to make something happen if he's still around at the end of this one.
Absolutely. With that, he now falls back to about the 5th car in the inside line. Some of the guys that we would expect to be up towards the front: John Sterling, Jeremy Clifton, Christian Gapor, Alan Hilton, James Holtzer. These are all guys that are hanging at the back, trying not to get too much on them here early. With no fast repair, those guys playing that hang back and wait strategy. Let everyone in front wreck themselves. Will be slow enough and have enough time to slow up, to be able to get around them.
Yeah, that's going to be what that decision. I mean, it's you got no fast repair, but these guys aren't acting like it, man. They are letting it fly out there, really pushing the effort. You see Bryce Sendesack once again on the outside. He's got Mike Rominger behind him, and I do believe that's Kyle Knapp. Is Kyle Knapp all the way to the high side there, it looked like.
That might be the 98,
no, 98,
actually,
I'm sorry.
Jerry Glenn.
Yes. Kyle Knapp is currently kind of relaxing back here. He's got, I think you said he's got a pretty good shot of making it. I think he's just hoping that some of these guys wreck and it gives him a better chance of making this race. Or playoffs, I'm sorry.
Kyle Knapp right now currently sitting as the transfer spot. He is 12th. is that number 42. And again, he ran last night in the Maestro's ARCA Series at Talladega. As Nicholas Vroman still showing the way here at the iRacing Super Speedway. David Elliott sitting in second, Chris Akers third, Daniel Holloway running in that fourth position. That top four has remained virtually the same on that inside line the entirety of this race. Once Nicholas Vroman got up to the race lead, sure, they've had people contest on the outside, but no one able to get enough of an advantage to either one, break them up, or two, drop down in front of them.
Yeah, and it's going to take that much. You see a group of guys have already figured this out, so you have to really find who your partners can be maybe and see what can happen. But as you see, Chris Akers peeking to the outside. Don't know if he's going to make it happen. No, he peeked, though. You know, these guys are waiting just for their opportunity. But, man, David Elliott's all over the back bumper there of Nicholas Vroman. I think they might be teammates. I'm not 100% sure. And I have to go back and check that one.
I will tell you that here in just a moment. Yes, they are, both with prime time.
There you go.
So leading the way, and I think we're playing a little nice here because I think pit stops are going to be coming up. Now, fuel economy here tonight, again, 75% fuel fill on these trucks, plus the no restrictor plate running 40 to 50 miles an hour faster than normal. Fuel economy is going to be a little bit shorter than what it normally would be on one of these super speedway events. And I think with that would be the 98 of Jerry Glenn making his way down pit road, but he comes all by his lonesome.
Yeah, that's not going to help him at all. And I'm going back here. Yeah, that's going to hurt him right there. So we'll have to see exactly. And I'm going back into the results. I do believe Mike Franklin might not have enough starts. I don't know if they'll make an exception for him. We don't know one of the situations as to why he missed the race. But I do believe this is only his 7th start, not quite the 8th one. So
if they are kind and they allow him to enter the playoffs with the 7 starts instead of the 8, as now here we come, lead pack coming in. Nicholas Vroman in, 65 mile an hour speed limit on pit road, fastest of any oval in the iRacing service.
Oh, they're wrecking on pit lane.
Yep, somebody around in the back. That might be the 92 of Ryan Hoover that's backwards on pit road.
That is
it
indeed.
Was. And there's damage on the 9 of Mike Rominger, so maybe those two collide on pit entry. They're the back two in the line.
Oh, the 92 just shoots to the left when he gets onto the brakes.
Yep. Oh, yep. And that's
that's heavy damage for the 9.
Yep, damage for the 9 of Rominger, just trying to avoid the 92. And I think that might be blown engine game over for the 92 of Ryan Hoover. As now here comes the second group into pit road. Everybody else in. That's Chris Akers leading them down. Everyone else getting in just fine.
All right, we'll have to see. These guys, Nicholas Vroman got off so much further ahead. These guys are going to struggle to get regrouped. I think this might be the advantage to the second set of trucks. Look at the advantage Nicholas Vroman has. This is one of those times where you maybe got to back up coming off of pit lane a little bit. You got to still have some help.
It's a 1.6 second gap between Nicholas Vroman and Ed Morris. And then about another 1.2 seconds between Ed Morris and Michael Thwaites, as
he's got
Vroman
help.
Vroman trying to take that outside line to try to fall back without giving up momentum.
My goodness.
Thwaites and Elliott are going to fly right on past the 7.
Do you see how hard that 4 is pushing the 12? David Elliott is saying, I want to win this race. We're going to do something about it. He's all over the back bumper. That is absolute aggression, and this is going to work, I guess.
That is 227 miles an hour versus 215 is what you just saw there on the swap. And now here come the trucks with the momentum and with the advantage. The 12 and 14 will take the lead and take it fair-handedly. Nicholas Vroman now getting pushed by Ed Morris. They will jump, that pair will jump into third and fourth, and now might have a run on the top two as Elliott gets to the inside. Vroman tries, but he will hold on to that third position behind Elliott.
Wow. I gotta say, I was proven wrong. I didn't think it was gonna work. I guess they just didn't have as solid of a lap as well coming off, but man, the power move right there for David Elliott, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely. So we are through the first pit cycle here from the iRacing Super Speedway. Michael Thwaites and David Elliott currently out in front. As we'll take our first break here, we will be right back. You are watching the regular season finale for the RICMOTECH Truck Series here from the iRacing Super Speedway. Don't go anywhere.
RICMOTECH high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, RICMOTECH has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, RICMOTECH.com.
Working lap at number 25 here from the iRacing Super Speedway, the RICMOTECH Truck Series. And boy, did you just miss one wild ride that the 4 of David Elliott just took. Made one heck of a save, taking up 3 lanes to do it. What a save by the 4.
We're going to go back and jump to it just for a moment here. Oh, didn't quite rewind just enough. Here he goes. They're diving down here. And you see he just barely touches the apron. And wow, I don't believe it. David Elliott. Wow.
It's partly clipping that apron and then that big drop into the corner that messed with the back end. And Elliott, you see the damage on the left front because of it. Elliott now stuck well out of the draft, but he will certainly live to fight another day.
My goodness, what a fantastic job there by David Elliott on that save. Sure, just a little bit of damage, but you know what? I think he can come down pit road, get that fixed up, and he'll be surviving, hopefully. Might be a blessing in disguise, you know. Maybe they have a wreck here towards the end, and he keeps his truck clean and has a chance to put it in victory lane at the end. So you never know.
He's going to certainly need a blessing in disguise here because he's running 204 miles an hour. Fastest driver in this front group was just running 227. So he is a little bit off the pace, to say it lightly, as here comes the 42 of Kyle Knapp on that outside line with the 34 of Jordan McGraw pushing.
And Jordan McGraw was your pole sitter. He knows how to get around here quickly, so it's a good person to have running behind you, trying to push you to the lead here at iRacing Super Speedway.
We're starting to see some of the guys that were running towards the back now making their way up towards the front. It's the first appearance of the night for the 5 of Brendan Book. The 99 of James Holtzer is also in that outside line. Now, some of the guys that are in this front group, be it the 36, the 28, the 9, and 92, those guys are all laps down. The 92 is actually done as that contact with the inside wall on pit entry was enough to end his night. So the 92, the first retirement here, still caution-free as we work lap 28.
Yeah, right now what I'm interested to see, you see David Elliott's now about to get caught by a couple of trucks. Hopefully gets him some draft here with Jeremy Clifton and Christian DeBauer, and hopefully be able to maintain himself a little bit closer as we are coming here. We got lap 29, 28 laps complete so far. We're almost at the halfway mark already. Unbelievable how fast this race has gone, and we've had such fantastic racing the first half of the race. I know the second half is only going to promise more.
Absolutely. And during that break, Nicholas Vroman ended up getting back to the race lead. So Vroman regains his superiority over the race. Bryce Senizak pushing him now. Michael Thwaites, the third car, in that bottom line. As Brendan Book starting to push in that number 5. This is the highest he has been all night long. The 82 of Mike Franklin there as well, as Kyle Knapp, who was just leading an outside group, has now fallen to the back of it. And again, he's the transfer spot. He is 12th. He might be out if they allow Mike Franklin in, even though he's missed one race, even though he's one race shy of the 8 required to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be tough right here, just trying to decide. Everybody's going to want this win, of course. I mean, Nicholas Vroman, he has nothing to lose but win this race and go tie it up. So, even though he's got a couple in the bank already, you just got to keep adding up and carry that momentum here into the playoffs. So every single one of these drivers here has an opportunity to win this race, and I think everybody knows it, and that's going to make for one wild second half of the race. As you see James Holtzer all the way to the top, decides to fall back in line on the outside.
Absolutely. And for David Elliott, that big save, living to fight another day, he needs a caution right now because he's one of those drivers that was on the outside looking in, came into this race 19 points behind both Kyle Knapp and Chris Akers on the outside looking in. So that Ford truck really needs to catch a break here. And if he's going to catch a break, it's going to be big because it's not too often here that very few cars, there aren't many 1 to 2 car incidents here at iRacing Super Speedway. If it happens, it's going to be big.
Yeah, it's going to be at least half of whoever's in the pack that it happens, if not more. As man, you see Bryce Senizak still staying aggressive. He goes to the outside of his teammate Nicholas Vroman's got the run from the help of Jordan McGraw. He's dived down back in front of his teammate, but Jordan McGraw, he's the one going to the lead here with help from Brendan Book. Brendan Book can't clear. It'll be Jordan McGraw on the inside and Brendan Book on the outside.
Not quite enough there for the 5.
Wow, look at 09.
Boy, the pole sitter right back to the race lead, but he will not lead this lap as it's Bryce Senizak with the incredibly aggressive move, jumping up to that outside lane, now trying to play both halves against the middle. And instead, boy, he nearly became the middle. Instead, he makes some room on the inside.
My goodness, he needs to be sending a card to Jordan McGraw. Jordan, for a fact, had to let off the throttle there not to wreck him and take out half the field in the process. My goodness, Bryce Senizak is aggressive. He wants this. You see Nicholas Vroman jump to the outside behind James Holtzer. He sees his competitor go by him. He said, no. I got to stay in front of this guy. He can't win another one.
But that now allows Brendan Book into the race lead. The 99 of James Holtzer pushing him. And now, once again, here comes Bryce Senizak. But Senizak a little bit too far ahead on that outside line. Don't ask me who led that lap. As now 3 wide here for the race lead. Apparently, iRacing says it was Brendan Book.
Wow, man, I don't think Brendan Book thought he'd be leading that one. But, man, these guys are all over the place. As you see, Bryce Senizak's going to lose the most in this one. He's going to drop a little bit. As a matter of fact, no, I'm sorry. It was Holtzer losing the most, dropping to the back of this pack here almost. No help on the outside when he drove to the outside of Bryce Senizak. It was Nicholas Vroman, Bryce's teammate, to stick behind him. And now he's got another teammate, Ed Morris, right behind him.
Now, Bryce Senizak was one of the cars that was on the bubble, but not entirely safe. He comes into tonight in 10th position in points, so he's in, but would certainly like those bonus points for winning a race as the points reset. As now he has Nicholas Vroman behind him, pushes him to the lead. That leaves the 7 on the outside to lead, and he's got Michael Thwaites now behind him in the 12.
I love this by Bryce Senesac and the game plan that he's got today. You said he's technically safe on points at the moment, but he's racing out there like he's got no shot mathematically on points, and he's got to go out there and win this race. He's not going to get any opportunity for somebody else to possibly take away his playoff spot. And I love it. He is taking his own destiny here into his hands, and he's going to go win this race.
Now, just because he is in for the moment doesn't mean that if he has a wreck, that means he's going to stay in.
Absolutely.
Because he can fall as far back as 22nd, and that could be detrimental to his championship aspirations. As the 34 now of Jordan McGraw currently leading that outside lane, as we're once again starting to inch closer and closer to pit stops here. Everyone came in on either lap 20 or 21. We're working lap 36 right now, so we're within 5 to go here before we're all bringing it back down pit road again.
Man, how insane. I feel like these trucks just got back out there as Ed Morris and Michael Thwaites go all the way to the high side, 5-6 lanes to the top, getting out of the way. Just the amount of speed you carry off the turn up there. I mean, of course, you lose a ton in the turn itself, but my goodness, the amount of speed you can carry is insane. And you see Bryce in the lead right now. He's so far our biggest mover of the race today as well, up 16 spots.
I don't know why, but for some reason, these last 20 have gone a heck of a lot quicker than the first 20. As we're starting to see, you can see up at the top of your screen there, another big group of cars that are on the verge of being lapped. That group is from 15th on back. That group is being led by John Sterling, Tommy Massey, Joshua O'Connor. David Elliott has found a home in that group. Jerry Glenn is there as well. Remember, Glenn came in on lap 19 by himself. Mike Rominger in that group. Wallace Boyce is in that group as well. And we're seeing some trucks here with some drafting damage on the back of those things. They're not really going to affect them aerodynamic-wise because, again, it's just from bump drafting.
Yes, absolutely correct there. You see this front pack, I think, just as you were talking about, you can tell almost it's time for some pit stops. They've kind of calmed it down a little bit as you see Brendan Book making some aggressive moves on the outside, but they've mostly calmed it down. You can tell they're trying to all kind of get to the bottom and prepare themselves for an easy pit road entry.
Yep. Book, Morris, and Thwaites, the only 3 drivers on the outside line as it sits right now. As everyone's starting to single file out, as we should be only a couple of laps away from pit stops here. In this front group right now, Bryce Senesac, Ed Morris, Nicholas Vroman, and Mike Franklin came in on lap 20. Everybody else in this group came in on lap 21. So there are a few guys in here that pit a lap early. Might try to stretch it to pit with one big group here.
I want to go jump on board here with the 12 of Michael Thwaites. We got a couple guys on our chat asking to see some onboard views. Yes, they are my favorite views too. And look at how this sinks right in. I'm telling you, it's a hard bump going into there. Can you imagine hitting it at 230 miles per hour, 240 almost? And look at the bump off the turn. The trucks are almost in the air a little bit there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a very physical ride. Now, there's a lot of calmness here on the straightaways. You just have to worry about not running into somebody, but then that violent dive into these corners. Not too much drama here on the wheel. Should be quite steady and quite firm. And again, that compression as you jump up out of these corners. It's physical going in and out of these corners. It's quite calm and tame the rest of the way around this place.
And Michael Thwaites currently going 222 miles per hour as he hits into that turn. His top speed today is a whopping 241 miles per hour, the fastest anybody has hit. As they come down pit lane, look at that! Wow!
And again, that's coming off of a 36-degree banking. Boy, Mike Franklin almost having an accident there going onto pit road. That's a 36-degree banking going down to a 10-degree banking, so it's still a very violent thud going on to the flat. As we see now up for the lead here, Brendan Book in the lead on that inside line. However, it's the 26 of Holloway with Chris Akers falling in behind him. As these guys now should be on their way into pit road. You can just see how crazy these trucks are getting as they slam
we got a
down
caution
onto the flat. And yep, that will be our first caution of the night.
Oh no. It's David Elliott.
Yep, it looks to be. As Elliott.
Oh, that's going to be some heavy front end damage.
Oh, yeah,
that was close. Those trucks were coming.
Elliott will hold it. Yep, holds it down there.
Yeah, waiting for some of these trucks to get around. Man, unfortunate for David. And, you know, it looks like, wow, how did something like that happen? But I can't tell you guys how easy it is to carry too much speed. You know, you're talking about the 36 degrees of banking in the corner. On that apron, there's almost no banking whatsoever. It's like New Hampshire down there. And you're so used to carrying so much speed. So it's so weird to slow down so much. And these trucks, you know, they don't turn very well in these flat turns like that. So it's very, very, very easy. As you can see, look at the one sliding up there almost. It doesn't take much to just go over the edge ever so slightly. And that's what happened there to David Elliott.
Yeah, but when your truck is so set up to run on a bank, it makes those flat bits almost impossible to run with any sort of pace at all. So the second group here, most of them aborting their pit stops. Brendan Book, Jordan McCraw, James Holtzer, Kyle Knapp, Alan Hilton, John Sterling, Tom and Massey all aborting their stops. So these guys will all come in now. Or at least we'd expect to be coming in here soon. Joshua O'Connor hits pit road in the 59. Comes back out, pardon me.
It was Wallace Boyce coming in here. I think pit lane might still be closed for these drivers. That might be what's happening.
I think that would be it.
Well, this is a very large track, as we've mentioned, and with the size of a track like this, it means caution laps take a little bit of a long time. So, Frank, how we bring RICMOTECH in here for a quick little commercial break for these drivers?
I think that would be a very good idea. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back for the final third and final pit stops here from the iRacing Super Speedway.
RICMOTECH high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, RICMOTECH has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, RICMOTECH.com. RICMOTECH high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, RICMOTECH.com.
Wholesale pit stops happening here at the iRacing Super Speedway, the final race of the regular season for the RICMOTECH Truck Series. As that will be a race on pit road was led by John Sterling. He will win the race off of pit road. Now, all but 4 cars decided to come into pit road here. Nicholas Vroman, Mike Franklin, Bryce Senesac, and Michael Thwaites were the 4 trucks that decided not to come into pit road here. My question would be right now, are those guys in trouble? if we get a green-white checkers scenario, because those guys came in 20, 40, and if they don't have any fuel in the tank at 60, they're going to have a problem if that becomes a reality.
Frank, I swear, you and Tony constantly read my mind in these broadcasts. I feel like you can just do this job on your own without me even being here at this point. Yes, that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. That worries me a little bit. If you do have some type of late race cautions and you don't, can you save enough? This is a very big track. It's not going to be easy to save all that much, especially on these caution breaks. I mean, it's just too big.
Now the lights are out on the pace truck. We saw on pit road the 59 of Joshua O'Connor out of fuel, slowly trundling to his pit box as we get set to go back to green flag racing for the first caution of the night. Green flag is back in the air, taking lap number 45 of 60. Nicholas Vroman, the man who's led the most laps thus far, leading away.
There you go. You got 3 primetime trucks lining up back to back there. Nicholas Vroman, Bryce Senesek, and Michael Thwaites. Mike Franklin's going to have to jump right in behind that group of cars there. And then you got John Sterling here. I do think that's the number 36 of Rob Griffin. He's the first truck 1 lap down. He's trying to get his lap back the hard way here.
Yep, Griffin being scored in that 19th position as there's Joshua O'Connor coming out of pit road. So that shows you the speed disadvantage that he is at now, being singled out. There's Mike Rominger coming out of pit road as well after getting some damage fixed. David Elliott in the same scenario. He's running by himself, and that is huge for his championship hopes as John Sterling leads his first lap of the night, takes the push from the one of Chris Akers all the way to the lead.
Yeah, John Sterling making his way up here. We do know how quick the number 3 has always been at these Super Speedway races, and making it proud right now. But Nicholas Vroman back up to the front here with pushing help from Bryce Senesek, his teammate. Oh, that's a hard push by Chris Akers to the back of the number 3 of John Sterling. Here comes 09, peeks out ever so slightly. I think just trying to cool that front end a little bit.
You see Mike Rominger as well coming out of pit road. Not getting in these guys' way, staying on the apron as that is still Vroman leading the inside group. John Sterling leading the outside group. Look who else is out there. Ed Morris in the 7, the Maestro's Classic ARCA Series Monday Night Series regular season champion as of last night after his 3rd place finish in Talladega. James Holtzer, the Tuesday night RICMOTECH Truck Series champion, regular season champion, pulling up right behind him in that number 99.
Yeah, but right now the story's all on John Sterling, Chris Akers on that outside with pushing help from those drivers you mentioned in James Holtzer, the 99, and Ed Morrison, the 7. They're trying to make that outside lane work as good as they can. But, these guys, they might look like they're starting to get antsy. But I'll tell you, one way to know is how they drive these trucks into corners next to each other. You see, they're giving each other plenty of room still. I guarantee you, come those final 4 or 5 laps, they're going to be side drafting as much as they can down the front stretch and in those corners.
Yep, absolutely. As Vroman still taking charge of that inside line. By now, he has clinched the most laps led here tonight in that number 95. Again, he's won 3 races in a row. Of the races he's competed in, he did not make Kansas, which was won by Holtzer. So he is still on a personal 3-race winning streak, trying to make it 4 of the last 5, and the last 4 he's competed in, he finds himself in victory lane. As that 3, the first time we're really seeing him up front here tonight, holding firm, leading that outside line with a 1 right on his tail.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of drafting with each other to try to get up there and take the lead. I don't know. I'm going to assume, I think the 3's cleared 95 a couple different times, but he's sticking with that outside lane. It looks like Chris Akers peeks to the outside. I think maybe just giving a little bit of room there to the 3.
Yeah, it might be, as these guys are going to be awful close as far as pushing goes.
Oh, no, there goes Ed Morris. Yep. Big wreck here in the backstretch. Oh, my goodness.
The 5 of Nicholas Book around. James Holtzer is around.
I saw that happening for just a moment. I saw Ed get shuffled to the outside. He was trying to find his way back onto the racing, into the racing groove there. So he gets moved up a little bit by James Holtzer. Let's actually jump on board here with James Holtzer to see what that looks like.
We're on board now with Holtzer as Morris. Yeah, Morris just tries to get back into the lane, and Holtzer.
Oh, great driving there by 99. Could have been a lot worse damage-wise.
Oh, and you could see, but you could see the onboard shot there. He's towed quite out. There's the 5 getting into the wall on the outside.
Oh yeah, the 5 just nowhere to go for him. Oh my! Did Jordan McGraw get into any? I think he got a little bit of damage here.
He might have. Kyle Knapp gets some damage in the 42. Again, he is the bubble driver.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think McGraw is clean.
Wow.
Somehow, some way, that 34 is clean.
Woo!
Jeremy Clifton in the 51 also caught some of it.
Yeah, he caught. Yeah, there was a ton of drivers involved in that one right there. To see if you know what? How about we bring in our pro sitter for a quick little interview here and see? Well, actually, let's let him hit pit lane first.
Let's let them focus there as we see a couple of cars smoking there on the back. John Sterling decides to stay out. Now the guys that are deciding to stay out came in on lap 43, so this is definitely going to help if a green light checkered comes out. And all 4 of the drivers that came in on lap 40 are in this time, and something tells me that this is not going to be the last caution we're going to see.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, and you know, these trucks have been so good all season long. We don't really get many cautions, but iRacing Super Speedway is a beast. I mean, they made it pretty far so far with only a couple of cautions, and it's just the nature of this track, man. And making it the final race of the regular season, you know, there's bound to be some aggression, which it makes the driving or the racing just fantastic all race long. So I'm okay with a couple of cautions if it means we get the racing we've had today.
Top 8 drivers: John Sterling, Chris Akers, Daniel Holloway, Tom Massey, Christian DeBoer, Ed Morris, Jerry Glenn, and Bryce Senezak all staying out. Or pardon me, the top 7. So Senezak did come in under this caution. So just Sterling, Akers, Holloway, Massey, DeBoer, Morris, and Glenn stay out.
Well, how about this one for you? Of your top 10, only 1 driver has reached the victory lane this season.
That would be Nicholas Vroman in the 9th position. And again, it's when 2 drivers have taken 7 of the 9 trophies that have been on offer this season. Vroman's taken 3. The 99 of James Holtzer, who's still on pit road, has taken 4. And again, we had mentioned Rominger's win. Rominger's had damage for quite some time here tonight. Wins have been very, very scarce here this season.
Yeah, so any chance you can get them is when you're going to try to grab them, as lights are off on that pace truck. John Sterling, your leader. Chris Akers in second. Oh boy, we've got an exciting final 8 laps. It'll be 8 laps when they come back around this time around. If they stay green, those 8 laps will be over in less than 5 minutes. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a wild and crazy run to the finish of this race here tonight. So there'll be John Sterling and Chris Akers on the front row here on this restart. Daniel Holloway and Tom Massey will make up row number 2. Row 3 goes to Ed Morris and Christian DeBoer. Haven't really spoken about Christian DeBoer all that much here tonight in that prime time number 56. Bryce Senezak and Jerry Glenn will make up row 4 with Michael Thwaites and Nicholas Vroman in row number 5. That will be the top 10 on the restart. And if any damage in the top 10, it is from bump drafting and bump drafting alone.
Yep, absolutely agreed. We'll have to see how this ends up finishing up. You know, where you're out on track right now, as long as you're still in the lead lap, you have some pretty good chances. David Elliott, though, first truck 1 lap down. Truck doesn't look really too bad right now. He's going to be hoping for a caution, hopefully stay out of this one, and try to make it to the... still got a chance.
He's spent some time on pit road here. And again, Elliott is one of those drivers on the outside looking in as here comes the pace truck into pit road. John Sterling holding them down, holding them down, holding them down. Green flag is in the air. And boy, it looked like Holloway at the 26 really wanted to go. And Sterling held him down as long as he possibly could.
Yeah, he did. And you saw Chris Akers about beat him to the line there. And he's going to go be on that outside looking for some drafting help from Tom and Massey. Tom was all over him going down into turn 1, backed off into turn here. It is... Oh, here comes Tom and Massey to the outside of Chris Akers. No, they're going to leave him hanging out there.
Yeah, but Massey was trying to get the run is what he was trying to do. But Massey instead is going to get the run all the way to the back of the line. As Sterling coming out ahead here. Now, the guys that did not come into pit prior to that caution coming out and instead decided to drive through pit road, those guys are getting a big advantage here by getting shuffled up towards the front. As now here comes Daniel Holloway up to that outside line looking to get the push. Sterling will get the push from DeBoer.
I've said it all season long. Daniel Holloway has to have one of my favorite paint schemes. I love the way the gold and the blue work together on this truck. And here it is on at the point here as Chris Akers gets stuck in the middle. Ed Morris was outside. Bryce Senesack pushing him. Chris has some help. They're going to be 3 wide now for the lead.
Yep, and this is what you're going to be seeing here as this run goes on. As we get closer and closer to the finish, there goes Ed Morris down about 6 lanes to get down to the inside line with Bryce Senesack behind him. Joseph Vroman still there as well. Nicholas Vroman, pardon me, still there as well.
Man, these trucks, they're all right there on top of each other. Chris Akers pushing the heck out of that number 95's rear bumper down the front stretch in the middle of the racetrack, trying to make something happen here. Looks like he might give up, might stick with him here as they come off turn 2.
Again, Akers, one of the drivers on the outside looking in here for the championship for the playoffs. As Morris, wasn't he just backwards not that long ago down the back straightaway, and now he's getting hung in the middle. He pushes Bryce Senesack to the outside, and that'll promote John Sterling to the lead on the inside.
My goodness, you're right. Ed Morris was sideways at one point. He's back up here battling hard, trying to get his first victory of the season still. Got to remember, as a race admin, as one of the guys who runs the league, nothing is sweeter than being able to win in your own league, and Ed is trying to do that as he's got a big push from behind on that outside. I believe that's the number 95, Nicholas Roman. Yes, his teammate.
We've noted it a couple of times here tonight, but it certainly would be nice for Ed Morris to win the regular season championship in the Monday Night ARCA Series, and then the very next night win the final race of the regular season, his first of the season in the Truck Series, as John Sterling puts a huge block on the outside line, completely stops the run on the outside, but it's Morris still with Roman pushing, trying to get up to that race lead, only a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, that outside lane, it's 4 primetime trucks on that outside lane. They're doing a great job staying lined up. They're going to take the lead. Here goes Nicholas Roman to the bottom. John Sterling moves to the outside here. Does he have any help? No, he'll get stuck in the middle. But my goodness, look at that. He's still got a pretty good run. 3 wide for the lead here.
Boy, John Sterling right through the middle by himself. Those are the runs you can get here with no restrictor plate. You need help, though, and he does not have it, as that's Vroman on the inside, Morris on the outside. Morris certainly has the run. Senesack trying to go down to the bottom. He will stop the run of that inside line, and Senesack will fall into the second position with Morris leading.
God, John Sterling with a big run here in 3 and 4. Nicholas Roman slides up in front of him. John's going to give him a big shove down the front stretch. 95 is sideways. He keeps it going. My goodness, what wheeling he was doing there by the number 95. He got a huge push from the 3 there and put 95 Nicholas Roman on point. 3 laps to go.
A couple of wiggles and a couple of guys coming down pit road have broken this pack up a little bit. Joshua O'Connor was one of the drivers that went around. Mike Franklin has ventured down pit road. As we are waiting here on the final 2.5 laps, a big swing down to the inside by Nicholas Vroman as John Sterling on the outside looks to take the race lead.
Man, John Sterling, he was falling to the back in the middle, no help. Here he is, back up to the front. He's got drafting help from Alan Hilton and your pole sitter Jordan McGraw on the outside.
Absolutely, is Vroman still holding that inside line, the man who's led the most laps of the race here tonight, leading the way on this inside.
I'm waiting for Ed Morris. Ed Morris is going to pull out. I know it's his teammate, but he'll pull out and win this race, and I'm excited for it. Outside lane breaks apart ever so slightly. You're going to see Daniel Holloway look to the outside of Bryce Senesac. He said, I'm going to lead this outside group. Here comes Chris Akers to work with him. We got a couple of candy cars running up front here on the outside.
Ooh, Holloway leading that outside line. We're going to see a big catastrophe here in the next about 4.5 miles. As boy, Tommy Massey rode that apron going into turn 3, really upset the car, and more so upset the inside line as it's allowed Vroman and Morris to get away as they come to the white flag.
1 lap to go here on the Esports Broadcasting Network for the RICMOTECH High Performance Truck Series. It is a fantastic battle. Nicholas Vroman, 3-time winner here in the RICMOTECH Truck Series. Oh, they're wrecking hard. That was Jordan McGraw, I believe. Can they make it back around?
McGraw and Massey all around in the back going into turn 1. Close battling here in the back straightaway as it's Holloway trying to find some room in the middle of the racetrack. Akers on the outside looking to punch his ticket into the playoffs.
Man, he's got, oh no, they're wrecking. No, some net code.
Yep, that was Hilton getting around, dumping Sterling as they come across turn number 4. To the line, look down low, there goes the 09 of Senesac, but to the line, it's going to be Nicholas Vroman.
Wow!
The final race of the regular season, his 4th win of the year, and putting himself in a tie for first with the points reset as the playoffs begin next week.
My goodness, what a finish!
Vroman, Akers, Morris, the top 3.
What a hard-fought battle. Chris Akers, man, he had everybody all on his bumper trying to push hard, but those teammates at the bottom were able to work just well enough together to hold off that push. You saw Ed Morris was looking every which way to try to make it for the lead. Wasn't able to find a spot. He'll come home 3rd with it, but man, what a finish.
That makes 2 drivers taking 8 of the 10 regular season trophies, the 95 of Nicholas Vroman and the 99 of James Holtzer, who because of an earlier accident comes home in the 19th position. As Vroman burns it down, we'll get these guys in here in just a moment. The last 4 times this 95 has been on track in the last 5 races, he has won.
Man, I don't know who's hotter right now, Nicholas Vroman or James Holtzer. I know he had a bit of an issue today, but that's Super Speedway racing. He did win the last 2 races as well. I'm saying we're gonna have one heck of a battle. This feels like just a heavyweight battle for the front between Nicholas Vroman and the number 99 of James Holtzer. So let's go ahead and bring on the man who runs the whole league, Ed Morris.
I believe, Angel, you're with Ed right now. Or at least here in just a moment.
Yep, he will be just a moment. Sorry about that, everybody.
And
he's just a little further down. Here we go.
And going back, talked about Franklin winning at Daytona. We talked about Mike Rominger taking the win at Las Vegas. The last 8 races have been won by either the 99 or the 95, as I believe Angel now has the 3rd place finisher.
Bloomingdale, Georgia's Ed Morris. Have you got us? It's Angel and Frank in the ESBN broadcast booth.
I got you, man.
Man, what a fantastic job you did today. I know it was a ton of teamwork today. It's what makes these Super Speedway races so much fun and a possibility of winning at the end. I saw you trying to make some moves. There's just nowhere to go. I know you really wanted this win, but how does the 3rd place finish feel after capping off what I heard was our regular season champion in the ARCA League on Monday nights?
Yeah, I mean this is the very first race I've ever ran here. So I mean it was a mystery coming into this race. So I wasn't really sure what to expect and how the racing was going to be and how the car was going to react in traffic. But we put ourselves in a situation there toward the end. I was behind a teammate, was able to push him in the victory lane, and then come out with a podium finish too. So it was ended up being a good day. We got into some trouble earlier on. Luckily, we didn't tear it up. So
Yeah, at one point we saw you sideways down the backstretch, and then a few laps later, you're up there trying to take the lead. What an unreal situation there for you, Ed. I gotta say, congratulations. I think that was still one heck of a run to come home here in the third position. Frank, we got anything here for one of our league owners?
Yep, absolutely. Now you are going to be in the playoffs here. We head to Atlanta next week for the start of the first round of the playoffs. What are your thoughts going into Atlanta?
hard work, man. We're good at Atlanta. I'm pretty decent at the mile and a halfs, anyways. But it's game time now. Getting secured into the playoffs is the first start. We weren't able to capitalize on a win in the regular season. I mean, we come close a couple times, but we were still able to point our way in. And now it's go time. So every point's going to count. Consistency in the next 6 races, is going to be key to win this thing.
All right, I can agree with that. I know Frank does. Ed, I'm sure you got a couple people you'd like to thank before we set you free to enjoy this top 3.
Yeah, shout out to the team, Primetime Motorsports. This is one of those tracks, especially where it takes a lot of teamwork to get anywhere and get anything done. And all the guys at Primetime Motorsports, man, we ran strong and we ran hard, and we were definitely a factor tonight. And to come out, there was let's see here, 4 of us in the top 6. So that's a great day for us. So big shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast, all the hard work you guys do. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all the admins and our series sponsor, RICMOTECH. Appreciate those guys for all the help that they give us and all the support.
All right, Ed, I appreciate it. Congratulations, big job. Go ahead and nice momentum to carry into the playoffs. Good luck. We'll see you here in a week, or in 6 days. We'll see you on Mondays.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, and with that, we will now head over to our second place finisher. It'll be Chris Akers here in just a moment, as I believe we have him now. Chris?
Oh, no, we do not.
No,
Hold
we
on,
don't.
sorry. I'm trying to find him. We were just moving Ed out. There you go.
All right, then. So we'll
User was moved to your channel.
Yep, there we go. Now we got the second place finisher tonight, Chris Akers. Chris, you are rarely outside of the top 5 here all night long. Being on the outside looking in, my guesstimation would be that you are in the playoffs. But what a great run here for you. Again, up front all night.
Yes, sir. That was the plan. I knew when we come into ISS, we would have a strong race car, me and Holloway would, and we tried to stick together with pit stops and come in and beat these guys on and off pit road and hopefully stay up front the entire night. And we pretty much did that all the way through until that last yellow, and we had to go back to the back and fight our way back up. So.
And you certainly found a way to do that. Is just unbelievable racing out of you guys tonight. And like I said, I do believe you did enough. I would, at least with the way you finished tonight in the lap lead, I think you did do enough. Going into Atlanta, knowing that you're in, assuming that you're in at this point, what are the thoughts going into Atlanta?
Practice. That's all I'm going to do this week. Get faster there and hopefully run some of these guys down and stay consistent and get a good finish there for the next race after that.
All right. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate a second place finish?
Yes, sir. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I appreciate it. Can't wait to watch it. And I want to thank Holloway, his teammate. We worked great all night long. And then thank the guys at Extreme for putting this on, and the fans for watching it. Without you guys, we couldn't do it. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. There's your second place finisher tonight, Chris Akers. Bud, congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
And with that, here in just a moment, we will be bringing in the race
User
winner,
was moved out of your channel.
Nicholas Vroman, as I believe here in just a moment, Angel will be with Nick.
This is always so much fun.
Yeah, it
User was
just
moved
takes
to
a
your
second,
channel.
but now we've got him. Angel's with Nicholas Vroman now.
Nicholas Vroman, here it is. You've now won 4 races on the season. How does it feel, Nicholas? Congratulations.
It feels good, man. Going to the playoffs with some momentum here. Overall good run for our team, though. Can't forget those guys. Prime time. Ed there at the end, Bryce. David. Everybody's working well tonight. At a track like this. So I feel like the team in general is gonna have some good momentum here into the playoffs.
Yeah, it was clear today. Primetime Motorsports came as a team effort. I know, of course, the other teams were as well, but you guys were prominent up front all day working together. But quite a few times where you guys kind of left each other out to hang. I mean, I know everybody's looking to win the race. You just happen to be the guy coming across the line first. What are those moments like, knowing that maybe some of your teammates need to win a race as well?
I wish them the luck. At the end of the day, I do want to win. We look at we do really well over there, man, looking out for each other, the best we can. But coming to those final laps, if I got an opportunity to win, I'm going to take it. And I expect anybody on the prime time to do that as well. If you got a shot to win, go for the win. That's what I always say. And, it just so happened, I was in a position tonight where, Ed was behind me. He didn't really have anywhere to go. And he pushed me to a win. So huge shout out to him.
Yeah, it was pretty clear from the beginning that Bryce was wanting to go out there and win this race. I mean, finishes top 5 still. Great run for him. I think that should clear him through. I think, Frank, you mentioned he was pretty close anyway. So, but yeah, Bryce was looking like he was ready to win this race. But Nicholas, you come home with the victory. What's the plan here going into Atlanta? I mean, you have a ton of momentum. Can you keep riding this, or how much more you got to do to keep this wave going for you?
Well, if you want to win a championship, you got to continue to ride it. James Holtzer, man, he's one of the biggest competitors out there, and he's really fast himself. So, I definitely got to keep riding it. Luckily we got an 10 point cushion, I think, here in the first round of playoffs. So we got a little bit to play with. But after that, man, we gotta keep it up. We got to keep winning, and hopefully bring home that championship.
Yeah, it was, man, what a show. One last question. Was it as exciting racing it as it was watching for us up here? Because, man, that was a blast. You guys put on just probably the best show I've ever seen at ISS.
Yeah, I had a blast. I told the guys before I think it was like Saturday night when we were practicing for the 24. I was like, hey, man, just let you know, Tuesday, I'm not riding. So, I have a blast racing like that. I love racing like that, especially with guys who know what they're doing. It's a lot of fun. And that was one of the best, Super Speedway races I've had in probably a long time.
Yeah, you could see the respect amongst all the drivers, giving each other room and just kind of riding, but also putting on a show for the fans. So I know Frank and I think I can speak for you, Frank, here in saying that we enjoyed it and it was a pleasure to have it, as it was for all the fans watching. Nick, let's go ahead and start thanking some of those people for tonight's win and let you go celebrate it.
Yeah, you guys up in the booth, man. The admins, prime time. Again, shout out to everybody. It wasn't just a me win. It was definitely a team win tonight. We all definitely worked together. Everybody on the track, and all the people watching.
All right, well, Nicholas, congratulations on the big win. Win number 4, tying him with James Holtzer. And, man, what an exciting race. I was really looking forward to coming into this race, Frank, and it really didn't disappoint. It stunned me still.
Yeah, no, it was an absolutely fantastic run all night long for these guys. And again, we talk about, close, high-speed action. It really didn't get much closer or much higher speed than what we had here tonight with the RICMOTECH Truck Series. And if you guys want a little bit of a preview of what Trucks at Atlanta is going to look like on the other side of the network, just beginning the broadcast is the Western States Racing League, the 3rd round of the season at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So if you want to see what we have in store for next week, definitely go and check those guys out. But right now, we'll take a look at the results here for tonight's race. Nicholas Vroman again winning his 4th race of the season. Chris Akers, Ed Morris. We've heard from those three. Daniel Holloway and Bryce Senizak in the top 5. Michael Thwaites, Christian DeBoer, Alan Hilton, John Sterling, and Tom Imasi rounding out the top 10, with Jordan McGraw and Jerry Glenn rounding out the first half of the field.
David Elliott, we saw a strong truck from him today. He's going to wind up in the 13th position. Wallace Boyce coming home in 14th. Rob Griffin in 15th, or 2 Toyotas in the field. Then you have Mike Franklin in 16th. Joshua O'Connor would finish 17th. James Holtzer, I mean, all these guys did have some damage at one point from that big wreck. He would come home in 18th. Jeremy Clifton, we saw as well some damage in 19th. Brendan Book, one of our faster drivers out on track as well, involved. He comes home in the 18th. Here in the 20th position. Kyle Knapp in 21st. Mike Romingers in 22nd. And Ryan Hoover rounds out the field in the 23rd position after a blown engine early in the race took him out of it pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. An unfortunate issue for him to have earlier on. Again, coming up next week will be the first round of the playoffs at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Be sure to stick right here with us for that coming up next week. But for my broadcast partner, Angel Santiago, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you next week at Atlanta. Head on over for the Western States race at Atlanta, round number 3 of their season.